for a favorite piece, one of the favorite pieces is The Thinker in Gallery 1, which is one of the most famous pieces of prehistoric European art. It's on the cover of art books. It's been included in art books all over the world. It's probably the most famous piece in this exhibit. But it's famous partially because it was excavated a long time ago, and it's had a long time to sort of slowly sink into the consciousness of the Western world. Many of the other objects in this exhibit are just as interesting, or even more interesting in my estimation, but people don't know about them. And they haven't been known for so long. So there hasn't been time for them, or the opportunity for them to get into the consciousness of people from the West. Objects from the show. I would say first there is an entire gallery of female figurines which have become quite famous. They've been featured in works by the archaeologist and comparative mythologist Maria Gimbutas in a series of coffee table books, The Language of the Goddess, The Civilization of the Goddess, The Gods and Goddesses of Old Europe. And it was really Maria Gimbutas at UCLA who came up with the term Old Europe in her first book of this type, published in 1974. So there's an entire gallery of figurines that she is focused on as the origin of what she presented as a kind of utopian ideal society that was organized and dominated by females whose values of nurturance, and aesthetics dominated the entire society. These ideas of hers have generated a very large following of women who are very highly dedicated to her idea of this almost a utopia that existed in the Neolithic of ancient Europe. This exhibit is the first time these figurines have been brought to the United States so that people who are interested in these ideas can see them. The idea that old Europe constituted an idealized world without violence, where women were dominant, and values of aesthetics and nurturance were the center of the society, is highly debated. And we present that debate also. Another highlight of the show is the invention of copper metallurgy. The invention of metallurgy is something that affected all of us, not just the societies of old Europe. And it was these people who figured out how to extract copper from greenish and bluish rocks. Really a magical process. By pounding these rocks up, mixing it with charcoal, and then raising it to 1,083 degrees centigrade inside a closed kiln. Once you did that, what you had put in as rock and charcoal came out as pure copper. A magical process that allowed the people of these societies to produce unlimited quantities of copper. Immediately, massive, large-scale mining began. Some of these mines are 90 feet deep, carved with antler picks down into limestone and dolomite rock to extract the copper ore. The copper that was extracted from the ore was then given to specialized craftsmen who melted it, used the molten copper to pour into molds. You can see cast-made objects. Some of the earliest objects made of molten copper poured into casts in the world are on display in this. Extraordinary table full of Cucuteni ceramics is another highlight of the show. The aesthetic sophistication and the technological sophistication that are contained in these pots are based on the same pyrotechnology that made it possible to smelt copper and invent a copper age. So the pottery and the copper that you see around are intimately connected in the same sophisticated pyrotechnology. And they're probably connected to women, that's true. It's probably female potters who were the first people to realize how you could extract copper from these rocks, which had to happen in high-temperature kilns, initially developed to make pots like this, and then ultimately transferred and used to smelt copper.
mai fost în America cu o mare expediție din 1939. Cu o expediție de arheologie n-am fost niciodată. Iată pășim pe continentul american pentru a aduce un cuvânt de laudă uneia dintre cele mai vechi civilizații a lumii. Și asta este foarte important. E important și pentru faptul că americanii redescoperă sud-estul Europei. Arată aceste descoperiri o vechime, o frumusețe, o capacitate de meserie, de manualitate, un imaginar, un gust artistic cu totul și cu totul special. Oriunde cade ăsta mai bine decât în țara unde toate aceste calități se prețuite.
Unul dintre directorii Institutului American, a afirmat că realizarea catalogului științific a durat 1 an și jumătate, timp în care a colaborat cu 20 de instituții românești, printre care s-au numărat în afara Muzeului Național de Istorie și muzeele din Piatra Neamț și Iași.
Have you had chance to travel to Romania?
I've been 4 times in a year, so...
That's a big deal of work and effort.
It wasn't work and effort for me. It's an extraordinary country. It has beautiful landscape, rich history that, now we know, the American public will know, goes back to the prehistoric period, and is a period that's so important because it predates Egypt and Mesopotamia. It's a country that has archaeological heritage that spans into the Roman period, and it also goes beyond that. I was able to even visit some medieval churches and medieval monasteries, so it's an extraordinary country.
This exhibit does not answer questions. It poses questions which will be answered by future archaeological research. I really do believe, and I think most of the archaeologists of Romania would agree with me, that we are just in the beginning of a new period of archaeological research, where a new generation of younger archaeologists with different ideas of how to interpret the past are conducting excavations at both old sites and new sites. It's very important that we continue archaeological excavations and that archaeologists get funding from the government to do that. Because we are just beginning to understand these cultures. This is not a finished work. This is a work that is just beginning.
Final question. What do you think the gentleman is thinking out there?
I think he's thinking that he would like to be in New York someday.